Good evening to our friends in Asia. Good afternoon to you who are based in Africa and Europe. And good morning to all our friends in North America. Thank you for joining us for today's MEI 1-hour webinar, How to Keep Your Publishing Flourishing. This is Ramon Rocha of Media Associates International, broadcasting live from Manila, Philippines, joined by our resource speaker, Vasil Papratilov from Sofia, Bulgaria. Vasil, please say quick hello, greetings to our audience from all across.
Hello, greetings to everyone. Thank you, Ramon, for the invitation and this opportunity.
Yes. We are pleased to see 101 sign up for today's webinar from 50 countries. This is one of the largest representation in the history of MEI's webinar program. This online meeting is being recorded and we will send you the link to the YouTube video shortly after this live session. Join the discussion by typing in your comments using the chat and your questions via the Q&A. We'll allot time to answer your questions after Vasil finished his presentation. The Christian publisher and bookseller is motivated to serve God, to glorify Him by pursuing excellence in the publishing ministry as well as excellence in business. And Vasil Papratilov is doing that in the context of Bulgaria, a country in Southeast Europe. Vasil has been leading Newman Publishers, the biggest Christian publishing house in the country, for 7 years now. But he has been in the publishing ministry and business for 12 years, and prior to that, involved in the printing business. Vasil has to balance his role as CEO of the company and at the same time, the husband to Venera and the father of their 2 young children. Here to share lessons he has learned thus far in trying to keep the ministry and business of Newman Publishers flourishing. Please welcome Vasil Papratilov.
Thank you for the introduction, Ramon. Should I enroll the...
Yes.
Okay. So let me start with small introduction of the publishing house. It is a 33-year-old publishing house. It was started immediately after the fall of communism in Bulgaria. But many more years took to prepare for the real work. You can see on the screen, the 2 color pictures are from 1993. This is about 2 years after the published house has been established. And there was a lot of hunger for spiritual food because in the atheism during communism, it was not allowed. And you can see the people how are gathered around the table with the books. It was always like that. It was like that for several years. The books you see on the table are not printed in Bulgaria. They have been printed in Europe usually. And some of them don't have the logo of Newman Publishers. They were prepared before starting that business. So thank God he inspired Christian men, including my father, to prepare some materials for the time. They didn't know when the communism would fall, but they were just working with passion about that. This is a good reminder, and for all of us, and especially for people who are living in countries that Christianity is prosecuted in some way or just restricted. Don't lose hope and work hard, do whatever is possible for the time, because you don't know when things will change, and you will be very happy to be prepared for the time when everything is free, the time is free, and you can share freely the gospel. Now, my personal history goes a little bit more back. On the other photo, you can see a man who is going from village to village with the donkey, and that's in 1933. He's distributing Bibles, and this is my grandfather. This photo is from a report of Bible Society. He was working with them back then, and this is a good reminder that whatever we do now, it will live for generations after us. So we need to keep the good work. If we know that God has put some passion about Christian books, about distributing the gospel, and that's a good reminder for me as well to keep up the good work. And I'm really privileged. I thank God about that He has put me in this heritage for all in Bulgaria in this case. But I hope you can be encouraged to build a heritage for generations about your country. So Human Publishers, it's working for 33 years now. We have published more than 450 titles so far. Many of them are reprinted with new editions. You can see some of them here. We are very happy to have Bulgarian authors. In the last several years, Bulgarian authors are becoming more and more. I can mention Daniel Albansky. He's our maybe most productive author. He's writing mostly novels, and he's also publishing everyday reading book, but he's publishing it himself. We're not doing it for him. He's really passionate about it, and he's very productive. We also have some other authors. You can see the two books in the middle. They're by Bulgarian authors as well. They are history books. The lower one, it's about the history of Islam. It's very, very powerful book. It's really good material, very deep approach. And we are very thankful that we have this Bulgarian author to do that research for us. I'll use that slide just to mention a few more things. The pile with small black books is a series of books. It's called Classical Christian Heritage, and they're like just adaptations of bigger books by Puritans. This is a good opportunity, good way to publish something. If you're thinking of doing some books, you can put them in a series, because this is more engaging for people, and people like to have series in their libraries. It just like a additional thing to hook people to your books. The other two books are some bigger projects that they're with interesting history. The one is New Bible Dictionary by IVP. It's translated, and it took about 4 years to be published. And it's a very big project. The Action Bible as well is a very big project, very expensive project. And the interesting about that is both of them, we weren't looking for sponsorship. We did them ourselves, but we organized pre-orders. So this is a good way if you want to make some bigger project, or maybe not that big project, but if you need some financing, you can organize that. You can connect with people who are willing to pre-order, and that way you can collect the money to print or organize the publication. I'll mention this later as well. So some more information about New Publishers. We're distributing 8 other publishers' books in Bulgaria. We organized our own distribution net, and this is really helpful for smaller publishers, that we can provide that net, that they can be benefiting from what we developed. We're also distributing a lot of self-published authors, or even some people who just initiated some titles to be published, but maybe their vision ended there, so they contacted us, and we took the work of distribution for them. We also have a case of distributing foreign publishers' publications in Bulgarian. It is a Macedonian publisher who wanted to publish their author in Bulgaria, and they contacted us to represent them here. As well, they published one of our authors, Daniel Nalbansky, in their language, and it is a good partnership. We're happy about it. Another thing we are working hard on, is to represent, not distribute as a wholesaler, but just selling in our online store and our bookstores, other publishers' books that are working by themselves. And this is important for us, because this way we have more titles in our catalog. We gather more interest by people. Also, selling Bibles is, I think it's really important. The Bible is the most sellable book. It's the most popular book, and after all, it's the most important. And even if you don't publish Bibles, you always can sell them. This is what we do for many years now. So I'll divide the presentation in 2 main topics: publishing and distribution. The reason is that these 2 things can be done separately. If you decide to publish, you don't need to make the distribution yourself, and I'll talk about that later. And if you find it hard to publish books because they might be more difficult, you need more finances to prepare the book, to print it, you might start with distribution. So let's start with publishing. Some things I've learned about publishing. I'll share some stuff. The first step usually is, if you're publishing a foreign title, is arranging copyrights. It might be really struggle if the terms are not with high advance payment, or the terms might be not very easy if you have a smaller market. So we have learned that it's important to look or negotiate for lower advance payment. That's the payment you make upfront for a longer period of time, because we are long-term oriented working, and some titles sell slower. So if we are tightened with a short period of time and then the contract expires, we might never reach the advance payment with the royalty percentage. So if you're starting with publishing, or if you're struggling, this is some point you can reduce your payments, negotiate with your copyright representative, just to make more comfortable terms for your situation. And you also can find, I believe, there are a lot of Christian publishers who can give you really good terms. Maybe you can find a Patreon publisher. We had Patreon publishers, Patreon authors mostly in the past, who just were willing to help us start the publishing. Another thing to mention, the next step is, of course, translating and editing. Now, the big question here is, should you hire people to do that? Sometimes it could be really expensive to do that. Maybe it depends on the laws and the way things are organized about business in your country. In Bulgaria, we found that it is best to outsource the job. You can just give a project to someone to translate it, and you pay him that. At the same time, the translator is free to work on another projects if you can't provide him more work. So if you don't have big quantity, a lot of books to be translated and edited, this is a good option. The machine translation is another topic that's very popular now with the artificial intelligence software getting more popular and better. The machine translation is a very good tool, and actually a lot of translators are using it. But we figured out that some people are scared of mentioning it. But it is a good tool, and it is good to speak with the translator about it, even to encourage them to use it, because they will become more efficient. They can work faster. But the machine translation cannot do the job for you. You will need to, you can use it, but you have to work on the text yourself. It's the same with editing and proofreading, of course. We usually outsource, we hire people to do a particular job. And if you look at Newman Publishers, it has a small staff, but we are working with around 10 people, maybe constantly, who are doing some job for us. Of course, if you are in the beginning, or if you are struggling financially, you can always do yourself. the work that, or maybe you can't find a person to do it. We had the last years, we had a lot of issues finding editors. And because of that, some projects just got left behind. But we're kind of growing that up now. Another thing to mention here about doing things yourself, now mention that later as well. If you make partnership with someone, because sometimes with us translating is more like a partnership, and we give more freedom to people who are partnering with us. We leave them to do it themselves. If someone has an idea of publishing something, we might leave him to do the process the way he wants, maybe to choose the editor. And we're glad to work with people who are initiating the whole process, because it's relieving. You can do everything yourself, so leave someone else to do it. The third step is printing and pre-printing. The same issue stands here. Now we tried printing. We tried organize our own printing process a few years ago. It was like a gap between going from offset printing, big quantities, to digital printing. It was a very interesting time for us, and it was worth it. We learned a lot of things, but the reason we did it is this was about 7 years ago. Then the digital printing was too expensive. It was still too expensive in Bulgaria, but was going on good. It was developing well, but still was expensive. And we figured out that if we organize our own printing process, it will be much easier for us, much cheaper, and we can print as many copies as we want. So we organized this process. We bought second-hand machines. They weren't that good. We made it in partnership with other publishers and other people who were interested in printing books later. So it was kind of, they were prepaying for the books we would print for them later in the next 2 years. So it happened. It was possible to do that. Now, in few years later, the digital printing got much better and much cheaper. So this was a gap for us when we really stabilized our business then with printing. But when we saw that the printing prices for digital printing went lower, we made the calculations that it would be easier to go back to outsourcing the printer. And especially when our machines were kind of older, the maintenance was harder. And my brother was doing that mostly. And if we outsource the printing, he would be able to do other things that we cannot outsource. So now we are printing digitally mostly, because our market is small. And if we print a lot of copies, they will just stay in the warehouse for a long time, maybe get damaged in the time they are staying. So smaller quantities is very good for us. It is more expensive than the offset printing, but not that much more expensive. For example, for the same money, you would print 2 or 3 titles, bigger quantities, let's say 700 or 800. You can print maybe 6 to 8 titles with digital printing. So it's more expensive per book, but you get these more titles for the same money, and you have more titles in your catalog. That depends on the opportunities in different countries, of course. But if you know that digital printing is accessible in your country, go and check it out. You might be surprised how well it could work for you. Also, to mention here the design. We have some negative experience with the design. Years ago, when we printed larger quantities, we made some savings with smaller font, for example, to make the book shorter, so the printing would be so expensive. This is not a good choice, especially if you're printing digitally. You might be tempted to do that because the price per page printed is much higher. But this is not a good decision, because many people after that, they're looking the book and they're not happy because they can't read it easily. And some people even don't buy it at all because the font is too small. And also the design is really important. If you're beginning publishing now, or you're maybe publishing your book, don't make compromise with the design, because this is the first thing people will see. That's the attracting thing in the book. And again, looking for partners in there are a lot of ways to find partners in different ways. For example, if there are publishing houses, other publishers in your country, you can partner with them about a particular book. If they share the same interest about the topic or author, you can share with them and split the expenses maybe, and after that split the print run, or make some contract about how things will go with that particular book. It is useful, especially for larger books. You can also find people who are passionate about publishing books, not Christian publishers, but individuals. We have that case, not one even. Sometimes people are asking for a book they like, if it could be published, or directly are offering to be published, and even are offering help. And in that cases, we might tell them to partner with us. We have a case where one man he likes some books, and he likes them to be published in Bulgarian, and he translates them, and we're not paying for that. The only thing we give in exchange is when the book comes out, we give him 50 or 60 copies for his church. And that's a partnership that can go for many titles. Both sides are happy. And this is helping us to keep new books published. Another case we have is with a person who is also translating. And we make a contract with him not to pay him immediately, but to pay him when the books are sold. For each sold book, to pay him something. And this is also relieving for us because we don't have to have the money at once right now. And this could be, sometimes it could be really struggle. Local authors could be real partners. We are very happy to have Bulgarian authors, as I mentioned. They usually give, not always, but some of them would like to give you the text well written, edited, and this is cost efficient. You don't have to hire a new editor. We usually make contracts with authors, with local authors. Maybe we give them some books in exchange. Maybe we pay them like royalties. But local authors is publishing local authors is great, and it's easier. The process is easier, and the expenses are less. So if you have the opportunity to work with local authors, this will be great. Now the distribution. If you want to publish and don't want to engage with distribution, you can find a wholesaler. We work with wholesalers, but we work with bigger bookshops, and you can do that only the one of the two. You can give someone to do the selling for you. We are doing that for the other publishers that are working with us. They're smaller publishers, and they're happy that they don't need to do this by themselves. Another thing very helpful for the Christian community in our country is that when we are wholesaler for several publishers, the bookstores are more relieved that they can purchase almost all the books they need from one place. Otherwise, they have to call the one publisher and the other, many shippings. It's just better organized for all of us. The other ways, maybe connect with several bigger bookshops. Many people do that in Bulgaria, as well as non-Christian publishers. They just work with the biggest distributors, and they don't bother to work with smaller bookshops at all. Another very popular thing in Bulgaria, I don't know if in the other countries it's a practice, is the consignment. Maybe if you're a smaller publisher, maybe you can't avoid that. Maybe the bookstores wouldn't know you well enough, or maybe they wouldn't be confident to buy your books because they don't know how they will sell. But if you have the opportunity, it's better not to work with consignment. From my perspective, it's just more additional work, and sometimes things get messy. And even for the bookshop, the bookshops, I can tell that as a bookshop seller as well, because we maintain some bookshops. It's easier to buy the books you're selling. You just buy them, and you know that you don't owe no one anything. Maybe if you're not sure about the selling, if the book is selling well, you can just buy 2 copies or something like that, just to be safe. But consignment, I think it's not very good for any of the participants in the market. So if you're willing more to do the distribution yourself, you can try several things. We have organized our own distribution net. As I mentioned, we use a wholesaler. There is maybe in other countries this is the same. There is a place, a book stock market, where all the publishers in Bulgaria, or at least most of them, have a representation. Or maybe for a smaller publishing houses like us, we have a representative who's offering our books and other publishers' books as well. But it's a good place where smaller bookshops around the country can go. They usually go 1 time per week, just to buy everything they need, and they can buy everything they need from one place. So it's convenient, and we have a representative on that market. We also work with bookstores, with bigger bookstores, but most of our efforts are in building the distribution net with Christian bookstores and working with churches, working with separate people as distributors. What we did in the years is find someone in the church or in some church to be as a representative, people to know him, that he's offering the books. And when people know that they can order books through him, they just place their orders there, and he's like working for us, but we're giving him only a percentage. It's something like network marketing, something like that. But it works well. This person doesn't need to have a bookshop. It's enough for people to know him, and these people usually advertise books from time to time. Sometimes it is a librarian in the church who is working with books, and people can purchase some books through this librarian as well. Of course, another way is, if you're a smaller publisher, you can find a bigger publisher to distribute your books with his, as we're doing with smaller publishers, our partners here in Bulgaria. Another thing is you can try to open bookshops. This sounds more expensive way of distribution. If you buy the place or rent the place and hire staff, a person to sell the books there on full time, it might be it might be really expensive, but we tried something else. Yeah, these are some pictures of our bookstores. They're not ours, they're partnerships, but it's like a franchise program, and we were looking for passionate people that wanted to open their own bookstore, a Christian bookstore, and we organize things that way because we have almost a lot of titles, and we're selling Bibles as well. So we're making things easier for them, that they can order all of the books they need for their bookshops from us, and we're giving them better discounts. This is very good because this way we organize a well loaded bookstore, Christian bookstore in the town. We did only two bookstores like that. We couldn't find any more people who are interested in working that way. And the benefit for the publishing house is that we have selling point. It's it's getting popularity for us, and the most the thing that we're most happy about is that people are really appreciating that. They really like that in their town, maybe a smaller town, there is a there is a Christian bookstore, and they love to go there and to see the Christian books, or to have a friend there, and it's really encouraging. So another thing is with the distribution is with the bookshops and the wholesalers, it's more passive way of working, but it is really important to go to the people, go and show what you do, show your books, engage in Christian events. It's really important. It is very useful for us when we go to a Christian event, some national Christian event. People and Christians from all around the country are gathered, and they can see your publications, or conferences as well, or even to some churches. Maybe in some churches there is no representative, and we can go there and show our books, and people are always happy to see the books, to take the books in their hands, not just seeing them all online. Of course, online selling is also very important part. Maybe that's the first thing you should do. These are some pictures of we had a mobile bookstore. We used it for 13 years, and it was really a blessing way to approach people. We have a lot of struggle, though. There were some municipalities that didn't allow us to go into the city or in the center of the city, mostly because we're showing Christian books. But we also went to Christian events, camps, and people are really excited to see. It's like an attraction, and maybe you can do something similar. It's hard with so big bus. There are some struggles, but even with smaller car, and if you have less titles, it will be easier. We sold that bus to another organization last year because things are getting harder for us to maintain it. Its laws are kind of changing for heavy trucks in Bulgaria, and we decided that it's not. It wouldn't be. We wouldn't have strength to continue with that. Also, after COVID, that's mostly with the COVID period. It's just two years, and the way events are organized kind of changed, and it's not very convenient for us. But it is a very good way, and I encourage you to see if there is an opportunity in your country to do that. And again, I'll go back to pre-orders. It is a very good way to offer what you're working on to your customers. And this is a powerful way to get things published, especially if you're struggling with finances. You don't always need someone to sponsor you from outside. You can do things with the people around you. And I'll finish with that. This is like a paraphrase of what Jesus is teaching us, to love your neighbor as yourself. Think bigger, and whatever you're building or organizing, think how to involve other people and how to make them benefit from your work, and think long term, because as I started with the pictures, everything we do is for the generations after us, and what we do will live for them. Basically, that's it.
Thank you so much, Vasil. That was really very helpful and very inspiring. You have offered many practical tips and insights and examples for many publishers around the world. Maybe a different context, but you have done very well indeed. You are entrepreneurial, and you seem to be finding ways to make it right. And yeah, I applaud you for being such a wise and an entrepreneur, a Christian entrepreneur.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. Some comments and questions here. By the way, welcome to everyone who have joined us for the first time in an MEI webinar, like Julio, Shred, Galmini, others, Poyes. Welcome to all those who have joined us for the first time, and we hope that you will come again and you will join the webinar again in the future. A question by Inge from Tanzania, Germany, is how you welcome self-published authors and you distribute for them. Do you have any way of do you examine their manuscripts first, or you just accept them for distribution as they are? You don't need to worry about the content. How do you screen them, or yeah, the self-published authors?
about the books we distribute for other publishers.
Yes, from other publishers and from other authors, self-published authors.
Yes. Well, of course, we decide what to take and what not. We have a lot of books that we just don't accept.
Okay.
The publishers we work with as a distributor, we're okay with what they published. Otherwise, we wouldn't be working with them. So
Okay.
we don't sell everything, of course.
Yes.
There are a lot of other books that Christian books, maybe with slightly different doctrine that we are not exactly accepting, and we are not selling these books. So yes, we check the books before we start selling them, of course.
Okay. So you have a screening process. As you said,
Yeah.
you don't sell everything that
Yeah.
is offered to you. Thank you for that. Rob Clements is asking, do you have any like a Shopify, or how do you sell online? Do you use a platform for this?
Yes, we use a platform. Actually, we're doing it ourselves. It's a free platform. It's OpenCart. It's called OpenCart.
OpenCart.
Yeah, it's free platform, and it's pretty easy to operate with. We don't hire a programmer or some technical person to do that for us. We do it ourselves. And
is that the correct spelling? OpenCart?
yes, OpenCart.
OpenCart. So
Yeah.
people can just Google it and check it out.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's free, and there are a lot of modules about it. You can download the module. There are a lot of paid modules as well. You can buy some. They're not very expensive, but of course, you still have to pay for the hosting and domain.
Okay.
Of course.
Mm-hmm. So that's the platform you use.
Yeah.
Okay. What is Jacob Mong of Myanmar? What's the difference of distribution selling when you mention distribute 650 titles and you sell more than 1,000 titles?
The difference is that, so yeah, maybe that wasn't very clear. We have around 1,000 titles selling, from which about 500 are our publications.
Okay.
Maybe about 200 are other publishers. We have contracts for distribution.
Yes.
And the rest, 300 are just books that we buy from other publishers, and we're just selling them in our bookstore.
Okay.
And besides that, we sell Bibles, of course.
Okay. So you distribute, of course, your own titles, but you distribute other books from other publishers.
Yes.
And other authors. And I noticed that in your presentation, you always look for partnerships.
Yes.
Yeah. So you're not working alone. You're not, an island by yourself. You partner with so many people, and that's really good. You're into the ministry and business together.
Yeah.
Okay. Inge is saying, I'm so glad to hear about so many publications in Bulgaria. I still remember praying for Bulgaria because it was such an atheist country. Go ahead publishing the good news. That's an encouragement from Inge. Dr. Tim, greetings, compliments. Please can the link to invite other publishers, Christian professional publishers to join in. Yeah, thank you, Tim, for inviting Dr. Timmy. Thank you. From Rod, thank you for a very insightful presentation, Vasil. If I can be of any assistance with US distribution of your titles, please email me. Oh, so Rob is offering some help for you if you want. Okay. It's an
Uh-huh.
in-graph content.
I didn't get that.
Rob Clements is saying he may be of help to you for U.S. distribution of Bulgarian titles in the U.S. maybe in North
Uh-huh.
America. Yeah, so email address is here at the chat. Other questions? Sam Nyarko Mensa of Ghana posted his question, how do you balance being a business and at the same time, a ministry, at the same time, paying your staff well?
Yeah.
So, so how do you balance that?
Well, for me, business and ministry is it's the same thing. I have to admit that. I think every business is a ministry because, of course, every legal and honest business. Because when you are producing something that is in favor of people, you're ministering them. Maybe we are used to distinguish business and ministry depending on who is paying about it. If someone is paying from outside and you're ministering people, for example, in Bulgaria, maybe you're more accepted as a ministry. But business is also a ministry. Just the people who are paying you are the very same people who are using the products you're producing. Well, as I mentioned on the question about how we balance the pain, we use a lot of outsourcing.
Yes.
People. We basically we're only two people who are on full day on a full time job. There sometimes there is a struggling, and last years, thank God, it's things are really stable. But before that, there were some years that were hard. And what we used to do, of course, when you don't have a staff, if you don't have money, you just don't produce books. You're focusing on selling. And we also used to work something else. I have been working additionally for pre-printing so I can handle things in my life. So it's a struggle sometimes, but that's the idea. If you're really passionate about it, you just keep going and do whatever you can.
Yes. As you said, you're doing a lot of outsourcing. So people are not full-time workers, but you contract out the tasks, the jobs,
Yeah.
people.
Yeah, that's what we do mostly.
And one key point that you mentioned is that you print in small quantities.
Yes.
And you're not tempted to say yes to printers who offer you lower price for 2,000 copies when you can only move 500 copies. So how do you get that discipline not to be tempted to always say yes to big print runs?
Well, I remind again that we're a small market.
Okay.
Bulgaria is about 6 million people, and Protestants, mostly of which are our customers, is about 150,000 people. So it's really small market, depending on other countries. And if we print 1,000 copies, for example, the average book is sold about 100 copies per year. And this means that we will be selling this for 10 years. And if it stays in the warehouse, this is too long for us. And the other thing is that I mentioned that in the presentation, it is lower cost for copy, but we have to pay more money for these 1,000 copies. And if we print just 200, we will pay maybe even double the price for a copy, but still it will be much less. It will be lesser than the whole amount for 1,000, and we can keep the rest of the money to print another title. So maybe this month, instead of going out with one title, we'll go with two, and people will buy more books. So we instantly get income the same month.
And that is a good way to excite the market. You launch more titles and people are seeing new titles and they don't always see the same old titles. And
yeah.
So that is a good way to excite the market.
Yes.
I hope that will be a good tip for our other publishers from around the world. Yeah. Sir Carlos, do you distribute Christian comics? And how popular are them in your country?
Christian comics are not very common in Bulgaria. We published the Action Bible, as I showed. It was really exciting to do that. It was well accepted. There were some people who don't like it, but no, comics are not that popular in Bulgaria at all, I think. There is some small community, but they're not that much popular. And we had a comic Christian a comic Bible. It's not a proper name, but it's people accept it more as a Bible in pictures. So they're well accepted.
Thank you. Colin McPherson has these words of encouragement for you. I'm so encouraged to hear of your ministry and business, Vasil. I'm amazed at what you have achieved. I knew your father when he was working with Newman 20 plus years ago, and we could not have imagined how the Lord would continue to bless and grow the work. Strength and perseverance for you. Colin.
Thank you. I recognize the name.
Okay. Yes. One question from Trix Wilkins is where do you get prayer support and encouragement, and how do you strengthen, how do you find support from other Christian friends, and how do you get the spiritual component of your leadership?
Well, our how should I say it? The most close people who I'm working with are my family.
Okay.
So we really know well each other. The relationship is on another level. We don't have some meetings every Monday or something like that, because we're constantly in contact. We're eating together often, and we pray all the time together. With other people we work with, some people are more distant and the relationships are only business, but there are some people who we are working with and we are more friendly with them. They're friends of ours. And again, we have conversations, so we just build that relationship close. But what I do, another thing I do is more with customers. Many times people who come to us, especially when we were going around with the mobile bookstore, people are coming, Christians and non-Christians as well. But Christians are very thankful for the opportunity, and they seek to share things with someone. Sometimes we pray together. Non-Christians are sometimes angry that they see Christian books in the center of their town, for example, and interesting conversations come out from that. There is a good opportunity to share the gospel, to talk about different topics with non-believers, and with Christians also. It is encouraging to have these conversations with people.
Well, thank you, Vasil. Well, you have inspired us, and you have given words of wisdom and advice to our participants, to our audience, and we are very thankful to you, Vasil. Can you please give your final words of encouragement to fellow Christian publishers from different parts of the world that are in this call?
Well, I think this work with Christian books is it's really important job, and it often is struggling, but we have to keep in mind that it's a long-term work, and it's important to do the job well done, and to keep in mind that another generations are coming after us who will continue the work.
Thank you, Vasil. One final question from Julius. What about ebooks? Are you selling ebooks? Is it popular in Bulgaria?
Well, not yet. We're not selling ebooks yet.
Ebooks.
Yeah, we're thinking about that. But it's a kind of new field for us, so we're approaching how to do that. I know that some colleagues, secular publishers, tried with selling ebooks, but I think it's not going very well. So I don't know. And
Okay.
selling paper books is still going well, but we have to think about the future. So we're looking around.
Okay. But as of now, it's still the printed books that are selling in Bulgaria.
Yes, for now.
For now, ebooks is not yet. Maybe in the future, but for now, it's still the printed books. Okay. Thank you very much, Vasil, and thank you everyone for joining our call and our webinar today. We are so encouraged by the interaction, and watch out for the announcement of next month's webinar, and we hope to see you there as well. In the meantime, we continue on promoting Lit World 2024 that's coming up in Mexico, November 3 to 8 of this year. Invite you to consider joining us at Lit World. Go to our website, maiglobal.org, for more details. For now, we would like to thank you for being here, for joining us, and many thanks again for Vasil for leading us for today's webinar. Okay. Goodbye, everyone, and God bless you all. Thank you for joining us. I will send the recording, the link to the recording shortly after this call. Good day, good night, and good day to everyone. Goodbye for now.